Hey there, welcome to another video. Arleesha here. As you can see, today we're going to be painting this blue jay from Tail Feathers. His name is Aerijin. I'll put the spelling right here on the screen so you can see. I think it's right. I think it's Aerijin. Anyway, I have to tell you, I am so excited to be sharing this painting tutorial with you. I loved painting this bird. As you'll see in a second here, I actually painted way too much of him blue. I was like, this has to be blue. Oh, look at this other part. This should be blue too. And I just kept painting everything blue. So the part you're seeing right now is actually a mix of a few colors. I mixed Vallejo game colors. I think it was magic blue. Also Vallejo model colors. Sky blue, as well as a little bit of violet, and I think a little bit of army colors. Natural gray or whatever their standard gray color is. I mix those together, and look at there I am painting the wrong part blue. That's not the, well, that's supposed to be blue, but the face, no. Anyway, after I had gotten my base coat down on everything, I was really happy with the color. Here you can see I'm starting some really subtle highlighting. I decided that I wanted to go with more than my usual level of highlighting here. I really wanted to try out some gradual highlighting and just take my time and do as many layers as I needed to get the colors that I wanted. So here you can see I started with thinner highlighting lines on the longer feathers towards the end of the wings, and as I got up to those higher levels I just did more and more highlighting. This is actually my second highlighting color on the back. A couple places I skipped colors just to kind of see how it would look. So here you can see going in with that next layer and kind of just building up and in. So each time I put down a highlight layer, it was inside of the next layer. So we have that gradient in color. So it starts dark and gets lighter towards the inside, toward that middle section of the wing, with more and more of the highlighting on each upper layer. So as I got closer and closer to from the magic color, the magic blue, in closer to sky blue, and then even closer to a pale blue, I just used less and less highlight on each layer, and really it went pretty quickly overall. You can see here just adding more and more blue, and actually a lot of my layers were the same color on top. Just adding multiple layers of the same color just increases the depth of color and increases the contrast. I decided not to do like a dry brushing technique here because I really wanted to be conscious and very particular about where the color fell. I know I probably could have just dry brushed this and gotten some kind of interesting highlighting effects, but I wanted it to be more particular, and I'm really glad I took my time. This is the last highlighting color that you're seeing here, I think. No, this is the second to last color, and you'll see the second to last color is what I put on the tail. I didn't spend as much time, as many layers of highlighting on the tail as I did on the wings, but ultimately everything turned out looking really good, and I was actually really happy with it. This here is my lightest highlight color, and I think if I could do it again, I might put one lighter color on, just because when I ended up doing the shade later on, which you'll see, everything got kind of darkened down a little bit by the dark shade that I used, and the highlights do still stand out, but I would have liked a little bit more contrast. This is the last layer of highlighting. The highlighting actually didn't take that long. I probably did a total of 10 to 15 coats total of just highlighting. That doesn't count the 2 coats of the base coat. So as you can see here, that looks really nice, and I was really happy with it. I know I'm not a professional, but I was really happy with the way that this turned out. And the tail only has like 3 different colors, I think. The base color, a mid-tone, and then the highlight. And even that, you can see there's quite a bit of contrast. I ended up doing white on the tips of the middle ring of feathers, and also on the end of the tail, which you'll see in a second here. For the white, I put that on the ends, and I did, I think, 2 coats of white, just so I would get enough contrast. And you'll see here that I did the exact same thing on the tail. There it is, the exact same thing on the tail, just went over about 2 coats on all of the feathers except for that large central, maybe 2 feathers in the middle. I did white on everything except for those. And actually what I ended up doing right after that was, I was so nervous about this. I was so nervous about the black stripes because I thought they would look awful, because I don't usually do freehand painting on miniatures like this. But I just kept it simple, just did my lines, and ultimately once the shade was on, everything looked pretty good. I was really happy with it. The next step is the shading. So it's really not that many steps to get something that looks pretty good. The overall painting, I would say that painting this bird took me I don't know, maybe between 1 and 2 hours, I would say. Maybe 2.5? 1.5 to 2.5 hours, somewhere in there. And really, that time has actually dropped from what it used to take me to paint, just because I didn't really know what I was doing. So I would highlight something, and then my next highlight would cover the entire area that I'd just done, so I wasn't really making progress from layer to layer. After I put the shade on this guy, I went over the white parts again just to bring them back out, because you can see they got really dulled down from the dark shade that I put on, and that dark shade brought out all of the detail in the feathers and kind of brings everything together, and the white just brings that white back out and makes that pop. Here I am covering a section, which you're about to see a lot of, covering a section that should not have been blue. So we're covering, I think I used pale gray blue, model color, pale gray blue to cover this, and I guess it wasn't too bad that I was painting over it, but ultimately it was just a little bit of a hassle. Here we're painting just a little bit of the black details on the bird, so at the back of the cheek area, and then it's not just the eyeball that I painted black, but also I kind of winged it out a little bit. I looked at a lot of reference pictures for this miniature of other people's paintings, but also of actual blue jays being, you know, in flight or perched or anything like that, just to kind of understand the bird a little bit better. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more of these blue jays being painted, or not the blue jays, but more of the tail feathers miniatures being painted. Next week we're going to be showing you the rider for this bird, and that was a lot simpler, but anyway, staying on topic here with this bird, here I am covering up more of my mistakes. This actually took quite a few paints of coat to cover up, like 3 or 4 coats to cover up all of the blue and get a nice solid pale grayish color with a little bit of blue in it. I definitely would not paint this blue again if I had it over. I just got so excited with the blue, I couldn't help myself. Anyway, I colored the breast and legs, and then it was really hard to try to get the feet on camera. Anyway, feet are just black. They're black like the eyes. Oh, also in the eye, I didn't say, but I did a tiny little white highlight just to bring out, so it wouldn't just be a black eye. There's a little bit of a white highlight on the eyes. And again, here's Arleesha covering her mistakes. This actually took quite a few coats of paint because I had to go in and hold the miniature like upside down and get into all the little recesses of blue and like cover them all up. So I'm holding this at an angle where you can see it, but also I was holding it at this angle so that I could get underneath into all the cracks, so you can kind of see on the wings I had a lot of cracks to fill. After I did that, however, you can still see kind of some of the blue shining through, and I decided I didn't care as much for the underside. I did that upper layer of wings with a dark gray just for a little bit of contrast, and also on an actual blue jay they have this feather pattern, this color pattern. So after I had gotten the dark gray on this upper wing, I also put the darker gray on the tips of the larger wings, and on the smaller wings on the very tips I did a little bit of white. It might have been like a light gray because I don't think I wanted quite as much contrast as on the back side of the bird where all the blue and all those pretty colors are. This, I let it be a little bit duller just because this is the underside of the bird, and then I did a little bit of like an off-white grayish color to highlight this section. Ooh, this color, and I know I've talked about this color before, but I'm going to talk about it again. This is the gunmetal gray, Model Colors gunmetal gray. I use this to base coat all of his armor, and I love this paint. It's my favorite metallic paint. It's actually one of my favorite Vallejo Model Color paints. It's just so nice to work with. It goes on so well. Even if you only do like 1 or 2 coats, it's so nice. Those black bits you can see that I'm painting now, I originally, just like a dummy, thought they were feathers, and then when I was painting later on, I was like, oh, those aren't feathers, it's armor. So fortunately, I was able to just cover them up at this stage. That's one of the nice things about starting from the inside and working out, is if you make a mistake, they're pretty easy to cover up. And you'll see there were a lot of little blue marks or little black marks or white marks that I was covering up at this stage in the armor. So I really like the little wing plates on the bird. There are lots of little angles to cover paint on, and here's a good view you can see of the backside when the shade's all dried, just covering everything with that gunmetal gray, and also, of course, the headpiece that gets the gunmetal gray as well. Now, this was really hard for me to show you, but this I took the silver, Model Color silver, and tried to highlight that, and that's over that. Wow, that happened really quick. Anyway, I highlighted that with silver, and now we're painting the brown straps. This is going to go really quickly, too. So brown, 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 brown. I just painted a bunch of things brown, and then in a second here, you're going to see that I highlighted that by mixing that leather brown, Army Painter's leather brown, with beige, Model Color beige. And just to give a little bit of highlighting, I left it pretty simple, just a base color and a highlight. this is the shade now on, I think I did this over, well, all of the parts that I hadn't shaded already. Really, I could have shaded just everything at the end, but I was so excited to see the wings of the bird done with the shading and everything. Like, this project was like all about me just getting overexcited and not taking my time. So here I'm shading the parts that I hadn't shaded already, like the armor. I added a little bit of shade to the tops of the armor just so everything would blend a little bit, to the face, the underside of the wings, and of course the belly, and in a second here I'll do the underside of the tail. Yep, putting the shading on that. Lots of little pockets and lines and nooks and things for the shade to fall in, which is like a painter's dream. It's just so fun and so rewarding to paint. Look, I'll slow it down here so you can see. So nice. Alright, and now we're going to look at some pictures so you can see him all done, ready to go, and of course you'll see maybe a couple nicks on his back because I already jammed the rider on top after I painted him to say, oh look, they look so good together, and of course I didn't take pictures first, but I got a little impatient. Anyway, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's a specific bird from Tail Feathers that you'd like to see painted next, or if there's something from a specific game you'd like to see. As I said, stay tuned next week because we're going to be showing you the painting of the rider for this bird. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you're new to our channel and you'd like to see some other videos and kind of check out what we're about, I hope you'll subscribe. Thanks for watching.